Hello, friends. Welcome to all dignitaries and participants. I, C. Dipti Jain, on behalf of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICI, welcome all the participants in today's webcast. A very interesting topic: Go Beyond Analytics, Learn to Inspire, Guide, and Drive Change. I welcome today's resource person, CA Harpreet Singh, and others present over here. I welcome the chairman of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, Jay Charia sir, also. And now I request Jay sir to please give a keynote welcome address to all the participants. Over to you, Jay sir.
A very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Dipti. Our today's learned speaker, CA Harpreet Singh ji, secretary of our committee, very sincere and hardworking. The backbone of our committee, Dr. Sambit Kumar Mishra ji. Today's moderator, CA Dipti Jain. And all my dear friends, once again, a very good evening. Professional Skills Enrichment Committee is a very important committee of ICAI. For more than 75 years, ICAI has been serving the members and students. And we had committees from the very beginning on direct tax and on corporate laws and indirect tax and whatnot. But in the later years, it was found imperative that we don't have to only work only on the domain expertise, but we have to work on the right attitude, on the skill set also. Right. With this in mind, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee has been created, and I can say it's a baby committee compared to all other committees, but it is a very important task because what I believe is chartered accountants are good with the technical skills. What Harpreet ji is going to deliver today, the topic that is actually the theme of this committee. You see, chartered accountants are good in domain expertise, right? When it comes to analysis, when it comes to logic, when it comes to knowledge, they are fantastic. But is it enough? No, that is not enough, right? If you look at the management perspective, the pyramid of management, then technical skills will only help you to enter into. If you really want to move ahead and elevate your career, then interpersonal skills are very, very important. And here comes our today's topic, where Harpreet ji is going to cover up how to inspire, how to guide people. You know, it's more going to be interpersonal skills, how to manage people. Well, if you can manage people, you know, the most complicated thing, believe me, the most complicated thing is not direct tax, as people believe. It may be complicated, right? It is not finances. And the most difficult thing is not passing chartered accountancy. Most difficult thing is to handle human beings. Each and every human being is different. He thinks differently. He thinks differently. So how to understand the other person, how to communicate in a way that he understands. Dipti, in a lighter way, I put it this way. कई बार हमने मदर्स से सुना है, बच्चे सुनते ही नहीं है. अरे भाई साहब, अपने ही है ना कि पड़ोसी के हैं. अगर आपके बच्चे आपको नहीं सुनते, और अगर आप चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट से फॉर इंस्टेंस, क्लाइंट कहां से सुनेंगे? कंपनी में बॉसेस कैसे सुनेंगे? सबऑर्डिनेट्स कैसे सुनेंगे? कलीग्स कैसे सुनेंगे? सो हियर कम्स द कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स. एंड व्हेन आई से कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स, तो मैं एकदम शशि थरूर नहीं बन रहा हूं. एक्सीलेंट इंग्लिश, राइट? व्हेन इट कम्स टू इंग्लिश एंड वोकैबुलरी, बाप रे बाप, बड़े फैन है हम उनके, राइट? ना मुझे इमीडिएटली अभी एस जयशंकर बनना है, बराबर? बट यस, ऑफ कोर्स, what is important is how to communicate. You know, first of all, communication is not about language. How to understand the other person, how to understand the background. आप उस बैकग्राउंड में कहां पे फिट हो रहे हैं, वो कहां पे, उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है. आप टेबल पे अलग अलग साइड पे हो, सेम साइड पे हो, क्या है माहौल, उसको समझ के. अच्छा, समझना मतलब यू नो, यू हैव टू बी स्मार्ट इनफ कि आप उसको इमीडिएटली, यू नो, एक तरह से फेस रीडिंग, एक तरह से बॉडी लैंग्वेज, जेस्चर, पोस्चर को समझना, That happens with a period of time, right? That happens. The only thing is you must have an intention. Dipti, it is very important sometimes as speakers, we keep on going on, and we don't look at the faces. फीडबैक जो होता है ना वो कागज पे नहीं होता, फेसिस पे होता है. वो कागज वाला फीडबैक कई बार थोड़ा बहुत प्लस माइनस हो जाता है. फेसिस वाला फीडबैक है ना, फेसिस, ये बिल्कुल सही फीडबैक होता है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली आज तो हम वेबिनार पे हैं तो फेसिस नहीं देख पा रहे हैं. एंड आई थिंक एक स्पीकर के लिए सबसे अच्छा ब्यूटीफुल चीज तो यही होता है, स्माइलिंग फेसेस ऑफ द ऑडियंस. इससे अच्छा स्पीकर के लिए और कुछ नहीं होता है, वो तो इसी के लिए आता है, राइट? हरप्रीत जी सॉरी आज वो तो प्रोवाइड नहीं कर पाएंगे. On some other occasion, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, along with the series of webinars, also plan out various physical programs, conferences for chartered accountants, because we really mean to enrich our chartered accountants in all these aspects, right? तो आज के टॉपिक की बात करें तो डिटेल तो आपको हरप्रीत जी देंगे. As the chairman of the committee, I'm just giving you the perspective why we are doing this. Right? Why Professional Skills Enrichment Committee is continuously doing programs on this? Because on GST, hundreds of programs we attended and will keep on attending. Fine. And जैसे ही नया इनकम टैक्स आएगा, करेंगे वापस शुरू, करेंगे मेहनत, right? But this is very crucial. If you really want to emerge as a leader, right? If you're an entrepreneur, even if you're a practicing chartered accountant, but an entrepreneur type of chartered accountant, then it's very, very important. When you say you want to inspire someone, inspiration is not about, goody goodies and all these things. You have to be very clear in terms of vision. What is the vision? And when it comes to vision, the vision of all people should be the same. Let me give an example this way. Harpreet ji, you might appreciate that. In the current times, where a few days back with our neighboring countries, we had some tutu meme. At that point of time, the vision of the politicians, the vision of the Army, Navy, Air Force was unified. And that's why we could create the impact. So important thing is vision and articulating the vision. That's very important. When the PM says, right, PM jab ek statement dete, will not tolerate, zero tolerance, then the army understand what does it mean. So you have to be clear in terms of vision. If I myself am not clear in terms of vision, how do I lead a committee? Right? So vision and setting up your own example. Think about it. हरप्रीत जी सोचिए, एक फादर खुद स्मोक कर रहा है एंड अपने बच्चे को कह रहा है हम तो कर रहे तू मत कर. इट डज नॉट हैपन लाइक दैट, राइट? दीप्ति, दैट हैपेंस मेनी टाइम्स कि मैं तो लेट उठूं, मेरे बच्चे लेट ना उठे, राइट? अरे हमने तो नहीं पढ़ा, तुम तो पढ़ लो. इट डज नॉट वर्क बॉस. मैं तो पूरे दिन मोबाइल में रहूंगा लेकिन मेरे बच्चे मोबाइल में नहीं होने चाहिए. दैट शुड नॉट हैपन. सो यू हैव टू लीड बाय एग्जांपल. सी, कम्युनिकेशन हमसे स्टार्ट होता है. मैं खुद फिट नहीं हूं और मैं फिटनेस के ऊपर प्रवचन करूं, हाय रे हाय रे हाय, ये कैसे हो सकता है? राइट? टू लीड बाय एग्जांपल एंड foster a positive environment. See, एक बहुत important है. If you really want to inspire, if you really want to convey something, if you really want to change, तो पहले तो पॉजिटिव एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा. और पॉजिटिविटी अपने से स्टार्ट होती है. दीप्ति, आई मेनी टाइम्स से दैट वी ऑल आर कंटेजियस. वी ऑल आर कंटेजियस, राइट? इफ यू आर वेरी हैप्पी, यू विल स्प्रेड हैप्पीनेस ऑन मी. एंड अगर आपके चेहरे पे 12 बजे हैं तो सबके 12 ही बजने वाले. सो दैट एनवायरनमेंट, माहौल आपसे शुरू होता है, राइट? और लोगों के साथ कैसे डील करते हो, डील बाद में आता है. पहले उनके लिए आपके मन में क्या है ये मैटर करता है, राइट? जो मन में है वही तो होगा. अगर मैं दीप्ति को, हरप्रीत जी को एज अ फ्रेंड देखता हूं अंदर से, राइट, तो मैं उनसे अलग तरह से डील करूंगा. अगर मैं उनको सिर्फ एक ह्यूमन रिसोर्स देखता हूं तो शायद वो फील नहीं आएगा, राइट? So fragrance नहीं होगी. There might be the flower, but fragrance would be missing. So these are some very important things. And thereafter, once you are clear on that, thereafter comes clear direction. Providing clear direction to your team, to your subordinates, to the people to whom you are going to handle, and mentoring and taking some responsibility, being a mentor, right? These are very, very important things. आपका vision को छोटे-छोटे goals में break करना, right? Because you cannot eat the entire pizza. You have to break it, right? So all these things are very, very important thing. Along with that, getting the feedback and with open-mindedness. That is very crucial. Many times the feedback that you want is only what you want, right? So these are some of the very important things, and driving change, what Hardeep is going to cover about. So, first we have to be adaptable, and we have to make the environment. We have to make that environment. And believe me, maybe changing is difficult, but changing is beautiful. Changes are beautiful. They make our life throbbing. They make our life throbbing. So I think a very, very beautiful topic has been selected by Harpreet Singh ji. And we have got wonderful topic, wonderful speaker. So it is adding fragrance to the flower. And I'm sure we all are going to be enlightened by this particular session. Thanks a lot to all of my viewers, all the friends who have joined this program. Dipti, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai sir, for this enlightening words. In fact, you have just put the oil and set the stage on fire with your speech and your insights, and very well articulated and communicated from your side. And you made, with your thought-provoking words, it made the topic more interesting for us. And as it's very well said that कि CAs और MBAs में क्या difference है, तो I think through the efforts which you are putting in through this professional skill enrichment committee, we'll be able to mend that gap. And our chartered account, after this whole year, the 100 webinars which you have planned under this committee, thoroughly it's going to benefit all our chartered accountants in day-to-day dealing with the clients. So thank you so much, sir, for organizing this and being here with us and continuing the session. Here I take the privilege to introduce our today's speaker, CA Harpreet Singh ji. He is a seasoned professional with over 10 years of experience and currently serves as Associate Vice President at an MNC bank. With a strong academic foundation, he holds a Chartered Accountancy qualification, a Management Development Program certification from IIM Raipur, a Master's in Mass Communication from CCSU, and MBA from Spain, and has completed the Emerging Leaders Program and FTGP. As an in-house speaker for organizations' learning and development team, he regularly conducts sessions on communication, leadership, and interpersonal skills. Beyond his corporate role, he mentors budding entrepreneurs through Hatch Enterprise UK. A passionate speaker, CA Harpreet Singh has addressed over 20,000 professionals across the country at conferences and seminars hosted by ICI, ICSI, and ICMAI, as well as at university, colleges, and business schools. His dynamic presentation continued to inspire audience nationwide, and here we are all set to have your words of wisdom, Harpreet ji. The dais is all yours. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dipti ji. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Chairman of the committee, Jai Chhera ji, for the kind words, and of course, the Secretary of the committee and the entire team. Of course, I welcome you to this another webinar, and the topic is very, very interesting today. Let me share my screen. And today we are going to do a lot of different things. What lot of different things? Of course, we are going to do polls. We are going to see various books. We are going to see various tools. We are going to do various exercises together. So yes, let me first of all share my screen. And yes, I think it is up. It should be up. 1 second. Yes, now it should be up. Yes. Okay, all right. So this is the topic today, go beyond analytics. Of course, we are chartered accountants and we talk a lot about analytics. We do a lot of analysis and we delve into numbers a lot. But today we are going to talk about something different. What is that something different? Of course, this is me, myself, and Dipti ma'am has already introduced me. So yes, I'll just move on. And what we are going to cover today, of course, we are going to see how to influence without authority. Of course, when we work in our office, there are bosses, there are senior bosses, and of course, there are directors also. When they say something, we think that people do. But is there something we can do if we don't have the authority? Can we influence people to do something that we want? We are going to focus on that, of course. And how, what are the four influencing strategies? What are those four things which I can do if I don't have authority? I want to influence people, what to do? Those four things we are going to cover. Of course, we are going to focus a lot on the tools. Which are those tools which are going to help us in influencing people? And there are various difficult situations that we encounter. There are problems, there are such people which we don't like and who don't like us. How to deal with those people and how to get our work done through those people. So of course we are going to talk about all of these things, and this is art, but there is a lot of science which is involved behind this. We are going to discover that as well. And the last topic, which is my favorite, influencing your boss. How we are going to do that, because that is very, very important when it comes to your happy life, because you are spending 9-10 hours in your office when it is corporate. And secondly, your happiness is there. Secondly, your remuneration also. If you and your boss are having good relation, your remuneration is also going to be awesome. So you are happy also, you are earning good also, and you are going to get a lot of opportunities also inside the organization and outside the organization also. So we are going to focus on that. And now you people must be thinking, okay, there are certain things that are going on in our mind, and these things actually go into the mind of the people whom you are dealing, right? And those people, with the hopes, with the fears, with the other people thoughts, with a lot of data, right? With house, with money, with car, they are talking to you. You are talking to them, you are dealing with them, and amid all of these things you have to influence them. So first of all, you have to say the things in a manner that after all of this they hear your voice and they understand what you are saying, and after that they actually agree to what you are saying. So yes, so it is important that there must be something, there must be some trick, some art, some science that we actually see, understand, and implement in our lives. So we are going to do that, and we are not going to do like this. Of course, we are not going to go from here, we are not going to go from here till here directly. We are going to go in a zigzag way, and that's what life is, of course, right? So yes, before we begin, so there is a scan, there is a QR code on your screen. You can scan that QR code, and what you have to do is you have to think of a person who has influenced you most, or a person whom you have seen. It may be a person in your neighborhood, it may be a person who is in your office, it may be in a person in your CA community, anywhere. Think of a person whom you think is the most influential, and just write 1-2 words about him. What make that person very, very influential? So of course, when you type in those words, you just have to scan this code, and then a link will open in your mobile phone, and then you have to type in the answers, and that's what you will see on your screen. Think of the person who has influenced you most. You can enter one word here, and then submit, and then I'm going to see your answers on my screen. So let me show up where it is on my screen also. If you are able to answer, scan the code and try to answer, try to write what comes to your mind when you see that. Yes, so right now, okay, 14, 15, 17 people have just scanned the code, and people are doing that. Okay, Sadhguru. But what are the qualities of Sadhguru? Why do you think that he is very, very much influential? I want to focus on the qualities. What do you think that, okay, he is influential because he has knowledge, he is influential because he can speak really well, he's influential, yes, there are certain things which are coming up here. He is kind, for example, he or she is kind, he or she is inspiring, he or she is empathetic, knowledgeable, okay, caring, honest. What else? What else is coming up? Confidence. Okay, all right. And what else? Caring. This was earlier. Okay, clear. Clarity of thoughts, clarity of communication is very, very important. Okay, is there anything else which is coming up? Positive. Positive again. Confidence, positive. Right? Keeps promise. Oh, that's really great. So, because chartered accountants in such a profession where promise is everything, timelines, deadlines are everywhere, and you have to keep your promises. Yes, confidence, he cares, fantastic, okay, inspires, good communicator. Anil Singhvi names are coming, all right, and the results are changing, right? Bold, okay. So there is someone who can first of all take the decisions and then he can actually defend if anything goes wrong. Vivekanand, okay, Swami Vivekanand is also coming up. Okay, Chaira sir, I think someone said Chaira sir. Okay, inspiring youth icon, excellent speaker, keeps promise, knowledge, personality, leader, explanation given. So whatever you are saying, you are not just saying 1, 2, 3, 4 different statements, you are explaining what it means. Okay, then what else? What else? Okay, it is changing very fast. Okay, Jai Gurudev. Okay, people are writing different things. Reflection. Okay, connect. Okay, a person who is able to connect well, that person is actually inspirational. Okay, Sri, wisdom. Okay, wisdom also make a person influential. Very well said. Love with work. So who loves his work is going to be inspiring other people, right? Because whatever he is doing, he is loving, and that's why. And work is something that we recognize people with. When you meet someone, what do you say? Okay, what do you do? Right? So this is the first question, second question that you ask any person after the name. So your work becomes your identity. And if you love your work, you love your identity. If you love your identity, of course, others will also love your identity and will be inspired by you. Of course, that's true. Okay, knowledge, honest. Now there are those words. So confidence is the number one word which people are saying that a person should have if you want to inspire. Okay, all right. And confidence comes from clarity and knowledge, and good communication also follows. And then, of course, these things become help in leadership, and of course the articulation, hard working. So yes, we have seen a lot of different words, but one thing which I want to write here or mention here, that no one said: director, position, top boss, right? These are not the words because of which you find that any person is inspirational, right? So you did not say, okay, that person is on the top, that's why he is inspirational. No, you said because he has confidence, he is a good leader, he is inspiring, he is knowledgeable, that's why we are influenced by that person. And that's what the whole discussion is going to be today when we talk about it, right? So let me share my slide again. Yes. Okay. All right. And of course, sources of individual power, the things that you said, there's some legitimate power. Of course, you are judge, police, you are CEO, you are boss. Of course, there's that legislative, legitimate power, then coercive power when you have, for example, some resources which you want to give, and the resources are very, very much scarce, limited. So, of course, when you are controlling something, that power comes. Then there is expert power, then there is personal power, the charm, charisma that we are talking about. So we are going to talk about different things, and first thing we are going to talk about is influence over authority. There is an authority, there is a person who is having the authority, and let me show you what we are going to cover. Yes, of course, we are talking about this, and of course we are going to do the self assessment, and then of course we are going to talk about the 4 things that we want to actually discuss, and that's what it is. And sometimes there is emotion, there is logic, we are going to talk about that as well. We are going to talk about the trust equation, we are going to talk about negative attribution cycle, how personality is made, the trust bank, your circle, your influence. We are going to do an exercise for the strategic relationship mapping, right? How you map your strategic relationships so that you know that, okay, these are my relationships, these are important, this is what I am doing for my relationship. So this is what we are going to discuss. And of course, the first impression take only 7 seconds, and we are going to discuss what to do about that. Then of course we are going to talk about stories, how to build the stories and what is the power. And there's a canvas which we can utilize for making great stories. Okay. And then of course the collaborative approach, what are the design thinking things, we are going to talk about that as well. And there are certain other tools, influence strategy matrix, digital influence tools are there, preparation canvas is there, and how to measure the effectiveness and why there is a resistance, we are going to talk about that. And then influence and manipulation. When we are talking about a lot of different things, you might think that we are not influencing people, but we are manipulating people, because we are going strategically while other person does not know about it, because we often don't think about these things. But is it true or not, we are going to see that as well. Okay. And then of course your own development plan we are going to create. And then of course there are a lot of different things that we are influencing your boss is very, very important thing that we have. And there are some books, and yes, we are going to talk about a lot of things. Okay, all right, all right. I think that you cannot message here. So yes, I'll just not say anything for you to answer, but yes, it will be communication, but I assume that you are answering my questions. Okay. So first of all, influence over authority. You don't have the authority, but you want to influence. And don't think that we are going to cover all the slides. Of course, there are some slides for you just to see. There are some slides that we are going to put more emphasis on, and we are going to focus on different things depending on our time. And of course, try to have a notepad and try to write the things for you, because these kind of seminars, webinars, and the workshops, I would not say it's seminar or webinar, I would say that it is a workshop. Why? Because it is going to give certain outcomes which you have to work upon. And these outcomes are not something which are going to come after your work. These outcomes are coming right in your mind. When we are talking about things, you must be thinking, okay, I need to do this for my that relationship, because that is not working. For example, boss and employee relation, for example, client and CA relation, for example, any other personal relation, it is not working because I have not done this thing, and that I have to do for that. So just keep writing down. I will give you a lot of different tools that you have to apply. Not you can apply right now, and you can apply later on also, because it is not a thing which is going to stop here only after 2 hours. It is going to start after 2 hours actually, right? So, and I always say wherever I take sessions like this. So why these things are actually very, very important. Of course, 70% of change initiative fail despite solid analysis. We are chartered accountant, we do a lot of analysis and recommend something or the other, but they fail. Why? Because it is either not implemented at all. Second, it is implemented, but people are not supporting, or there can be n number of reasons. That's why influence is important. What do you think? That you are recommending a company that you need to keep these two machines together, and that's how you are going to save on the cost. What you incur in transporting your goods from here till here, what do you think? And the cost saving is going to be 1 CR per annum. The company is also willing to do, right? The same thing is communicated to the employees, but employees are resistant to do it. Even though the bosses are saying you do it, even though the super bosses are saying you do it, even though the director is saying you do it, even then they don't do. Why? Because that influence is missing. Although the authority is there, but influence is missing. And we are here to talk about, to think about, to have that influence capability in us, right? So of course, and the technical expertise alone does not drive the implementation. Why? Because you have the technical expertise, you can drive from your side, but the other person who have to support you, they don't support you, they just say they either don't support you or they half-heartedly support you. And of course, knowing and doing gap, there is a gap between what you know and what other people do, because there is a gap between your knowledge and their knowledge as well. So of course, there are a lot of different things why being right is not enough. You are right, but it might not be enough all the time. We are going to talk about that. Okay, now influencing, the influence has a lot of emotional intelligence thing involved, right? It is emotional intelligence thing. So whatever we are going to discuss regarding the professional skills, it revolves around this emotional intelligence. This is a very important word. And this soft skills of course are really important. So of course, I have shown you my profile and there are a lot of qualifications that I have added. So it is a thing which I discussed with my director some 6-7 years back. So I went to my director and I said, so his name was, for example, N. I said, N, what should I do next? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualification. Which qualification should I do next? Then he thought for 1 minute and then he said, Harpreet, I think you have a lot of different qualifications, you have a lot of different knowledge, but what I want you to focus now on is the soft skills, right? Now, I was having that six qualification, that director was having 2 qualification. So I was thinking that this director don't want me to attain more and more and more. Why? Because he is only having 2 and then I would be bigger and bigger and bigger than him, right? So he is only having 2 qualifications. I will have 7, 8, 9, 10. He don't want me to increase this. Actually, he is jealous of me. So I was not thinking right, because the soft skill is the one of the most important things. And here, when we are talking about the influence, we are going to talk about the soft skill only, right? It is about your soft skills only. Okay, now what is influence? Ability to affect other thinking and action without formal. You don't have authority, but are you able to influence them? Are you able to get your things done, right? That is influence. Not, it is not manipulation, but please don't think that it is manipulation. Knowing about anything and doing the efforts in the right direction is not at all manipulation, but it is a mutual benefit. Why? Because you are using your influence for the right things. You are not using it for the wrong things. You are not using so that you can harm someone because you think that something is right. Because of that only you want that person to do certain thing, and it is for good only. And it is a learnable skill. It is a learnable skill. It is not something which is a trait which is in me, which is in you, or which is in someone else, and which is not there in the fourth person. So it is not something which we have got from the birth. It is a learnable skill, and we are going to learn it today. And of course, it bridges the gap between the insight and the impact. So of course, as a chartered accountant, I know the insight, I know the data, the analytics, but how to convert it into impact? It will be converted into impact if it is driven rightly, right? And that can be driven rightly only if I am able to influence. Okay, why influence mentor? I know about it. Now, first of all, before we begin, I should be able to do the self-assessment of the influence, how much influential I am. Okay, that's fine. Now, influence has these 4 categories. We are talking about the 4 tools. Now, what are those 4 tools? These are the 4 tools which we are going to talk about. First of all, this is logical persuasion. Logic means yes, that thing needs to be done because of XYZ reason. Because the market is going up, the sale will go up by 10%. That is why we should have one more factor. That is logical persuasion, having your reasoning and you give the evidence. Now, second thing is relationship influence, right? You can influence by having a good trust. You can influence by having a good relation. You can trust by having a good connection. You must have experience that you are also saying the same thing, other person is also saying the same thing, but that client does not agree to you or that client does not act when you are saying the same thing. That client is acting when another friend of him, that is also client of other CA, when this client does something and says to that person, then he agrees and do the same thing that you were suggesting him for long. Why? Because that other client has a good friendship, has a good connection, has a good trust, has a good influence. All right. Then third thing is that inspirational appeal. Inspirational appeal. So one person is there who comes on the podium and he inspire a lot of people, whether it is our prime minister, any other person whom you know, right? So why? Because those people are able to articulate themselves really, really well, and they are not only able to articulation is one thing, plus there is something which touch people heart. So an emotional appeal, right? So there is an emotional appeal that these leaders are able to do because they know what people actually want, and we are going to understand this thing only, how to actually do that inspirational appeal. How? First of all, I'll have to deep dive and know what are the things which are inspiring people, and that's a perfect science, pure science, right? And then fourth thing is collaborative approach. Okay, what is that fourth thing? We are creating something together. So these are the four influence tools, you can say, which can be used, and we are going to assess first of all on this, right? So this is the link which I can provide you, and you can go on this link and you can self assess yourself. Otherwise also we can go ahead without it also, and later on you can do. One second, let me share. I don't know whether it will reach you or not, but I will just share this link with you. And what this link has, this link has a lot of things. Yeah, my chat, I don't know. This is the link which I have provided, but let me come back. Okay, so what this link has, so there, this link has this self-assessment. One second. Yeah, so this self-assessment, what this self-assessment talks about, first of all, you need to know where I am, whether I am at 1 or whether I am at 5, right? So what you have to understand is, first of all, logical persuasion. So, okay, am I clear and structured in the way I speak, I communicate, I am organized or not? So that was one of the attribute that you mentioned that inspires people, right? So where you are on this 3, 4, 5, 2, where you are, and that way you have to just mention your score for yourself. This score will give you what? This score will tell you, are you using it perfectly, and what are the areas where you can actually work. And you need not do that. We are going to discuss everything. Can you simplify complex information without losing the essential meaning? So this is logical persuasion, and then there's the relationship influence. So you are going to score yourself on these parameters. And then of course, inspirational appeal. Had this been a physical session, so we would have been doing it together, but now I am just giving you the link, and I am just giving you this. These slides also have the same information. You can actually evaluate where you are standing, and then we are going to talk about how we can make it better. Are you using stories and example to make the points more compelling, right? And then the collaborative approach, the fourth thing. And after all of these scoring, you just have to think how often you do. I do very much often. I do a lot of story and everything. I make it 4 or a 5 point. I don't use stories at all. I make it a 1 point, right? And then I click on calculate my influence profile, and my influence can be 70, my influence can be 80, my influence can be 30 also, 10 also, does not matter. Why? Because I have started my journey today to go from here till here. If I would have been at 30 and a person is at 10, if a person is at 70, right? This 70% is not thinking about it. He is just staying there. So he can slowly come to this place. But if a person who is at 30 is thinking about how to make it better, then he can slowly become 80, 90, 100 also. Though there is no 100 because we are never perfect in this. But yes, and this will give you not only your overall suggestions how to do it, it will also give you suggestions for each and every, the collaborative suggestion, the inspirational suggestion, the relationship suggestion, and the logical. Okay, that's fine. That is an exercise which you can do, and this is how you are getting the score. So first thing is you need to know where you are influencing stats. All right, that's fine. But now I know my score. Now I know where the things where I need to work, and those things are going to be out of these four things only. And why out of these four? I'm saying because it can be one out of these, two out of these, three out of these, or four out of these. You don't think, you should not think that I am good at 1 2, I just need to work on 3 4. It is possible that you are not good at 1 2 itself. Just do the test. Okay, now there is Aristotle model of influence. This is the model, and our focus, our discussion is going to revolve around this. And Lagos Ethos Pesos, you must have already heard about it, but let us see what it talks about. Okay, the first strategy is logical persuasion. So whatever I am saying, I am not having the authority. I am one of the 6 people in the room where the discussion is happening, and this is the manager, and all those are subordinates. I am also one of the subordinates. But what I have is I am good at analytics, I am good at reasoning. I know that this thing we did in the past company, and that's why manager should do it, or we should do it rather. So what are the chances that manager will agree to me, and after that everyone will agree to me in the room? So in a way, the manager is not driving, I am actually driving. I am influencing not only the manager, but you will see there is a nod in the entire room when you say the right thing, right? They don't wait for the manager to say yes. The acceptance automatically comes, right? Now, this logical persuasion we are very good at, because we are chartered accountant. We are already very good at logical persuasion, right? And what it is, using reasoning, evidence, and structured argument. Now this structured is very, very important. Why structure is important? Let me show you. Just look at this left side. This is revenue, this is profit, this is loss, this is operating margin. When you are presenting this to someone, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, and at the same time, compared to that, you are sharing this dashboard. What do you think, that which one is going to impact more? Right? Of course, the right one. This left one is also having the evidence, a lot of evidence. But do you need these much evidence? No, the answer is no. First of all, you need to clearly communicate what is happening and give 2 3 evidences if needed. Not entire 1,000 pages you need to share with anyone and everyone. Same happens with the information. You don't need to share all the information, you just need to share the right information. So basically, logics also, I will have to pick and choose. Okay, I am going to share this logic that will make my case very, very clear. So I just have to pick the logic, the rightmost logic I have to share. All right, that is fine. Same goes with this. A big report versus a small pointed report. These 3 4 things are there. In the past, this has happened, and as per this report, this should happen. We are having the numbers which also say that this is going to happen, so we should do this exercise. As simple as that. When someone asks, then you move to this report. So this is the right way of logical persuasion. And when it works best, so you have to think about each and every strategy. It's not like that every strategy will work everywhere the same way. No, It will work differently because the people are different. As Jaisar said, everyone is different. That is why people management is the most difficult thing, right? Okay, where it works best, the logical persuasion, where there is analytical audience, the audience which love to actually delve into the numbers, the audience which actually focus on the evidences more, right? And the data driven culture where the data is the culture. So you must be aware what kind of culture is there in your organization. Are the decisions strictly made on the data, or the decisions are made on hit and trial, or the decisions are made when the top boss says something, or the decisions are made when a person who's talking to everyone, who is actually jolly in nature, and who is actually having good connections with everyone, when he says something, then a thing happens. So you know it better. Now, what is the common mistake that we are having? Assuming that logical alone persuades. No, my friend, logic alone does not work. And even with these kind of people, no, it's not true. It's not always one or two or three or four. It might be 1 plus 2 plus 3. It might be 1 plus 2 plus 4. It might be 4 plus 1 or something like that. And it can be alone also. But most of the time, the logic alone does not persuade. You need something else along with the logic. And we are going to talk about that. And key success factor when you're talking about the logic, you don't have to frame for yourself. No, you don't have to think that it is for myself and I like this number. You just think that, okay, what the audience likes. For example, you are an accountant, but the people whom you are talking to are, say, people from the arts. They don't want to talk about numbers. They just want to talk about the things. They just want to talk about the outcome. So you don't put up numbers in front of them. You just have to put up, okay, what is the outcome? What has happened after doing all of these, right? So you have to think about your audience, and accordingly you have to put up the right things on the top and leave other things or put it at the bottom. All right. And this is the science of logical influence. Confirmation bias, we accept what fit our belief, but we have to think about others. We know all of these things. Format matters as much as content. So yes, of course, that's what we discussed. The format is very, very important when we are going to present to anyone. Perfect. We understand that now. And what is this? The pyramid principle. How do we present? The pyramid principle, on the top, you are just saying, okay, this is the outcome. Then you are saying, okay, 3, 5, 2, 3 argument that why it should work. And then the details, those numbers you should put there. So this is the pyramid principle we should follow. And it respect the audience time. Audience, no, you understood that in the beginning I showed you, okay, these are the slides that I am going to talk about, so that you know that I am going to talk about these things. One person can say, okay, you have already showed each and everything, there is no suspense. Okay, so be it. But I know that audience time is important. If audience think that, okay, something is going to be beneficial for me out of all these things, I have shown the slides also, okay, quickly. So you respect audience time. Okay, this is going to be the outcome. This is going to what is going to happen. And then this is the logic. The people who are satisfied till here, okay, they can go home. Okay, that's fine. And then people who want to listen to more, they want to see each and every figure, they can stay. All right. So this is the right way of using the logical persuasion. You know the logic, put it in the right manner, and this pyramid principle you should follow. All right. So this is something which we wanted to discuss. What else? And this is what we know. It should not be unstructured. It should be clear. We know about this already. Okay. And what you have to do is you have to do a different kind of tests. For example, what you have to do is you have to do a so what test. So what means you don't say that you are going to be non-compliant. You don't say that, okay, you are going to be non-compliant and notice is going to come. No, don't say that. You say that a penalty of 25 lakh is going to apply. And see how people take it very, very seriously. So basically, so what would happen if it would be a mistake? So you tell them that this is going to be the outcome. And that is how your logical influence will be much more. You have the decision tree. Okay, when you are making certain decision, either buy or rent. For example, you were doing that decision. So when you buy or rent, buy from these, rent to rent from these. These are the good attributes. So a decision tree, so that you can clearly see, okay, in buy I am having, oh, these many options, and then of course I am having this simple outcome. This shows what? That your logic is very comprehensive. You have considered all the factors. You are not just consider 1 and 2 and 3 factor and then you are saying rent. Visualization. When you visualize things, of course, it is much more impactful. And pre-mortem analysis, you should be very proactive. When it is about be proactive, right? When you are proactive, there are more chances that people will agree to you. For example, the late return, the return has already been late. Now you are telling your client, then what would happen? It is already late. But if there is something that you can do right now that the return does not get late, that you have to tell in advance. And let me tell you, and we all know it, that the client education is also our responsibility. Why? Because if something goes wrong, they will say, you are chartered accountant, why you haven't told me? Even if you have told to that person, that person will say, no sir, you have not said it in that serious tone, you just said it casually. So it becomes our responsibility that we put all the logics, we put all the facts and everything in most influential way. So first thing is, we know already and we are doing also. And let me show you something more. There is something more to it. It's not always about logic, it's about the emotions also. So a person who is riding on the emotion, a small logic will not do anything. He want to he want to be emotionally treated also. And the best part is, this person does not know about it. That is, this person is giving me all the logics, but this person is not trustworthy. Why? Because he is not able to emotionally connect to me, emotionally give me the satisfaction, the confidence, right? Now, how to do that? Okay, so the second strategy is the relationship influence. For that, we have to build trust, rapport, and social capital, right? And when there is a high stake, when a lot of money is involved, then your logic works. But beyond the logic, there are this relationship also which will work. Why? Because you know that a chartered accountant, a lawyer who is best in the city, right? You don't go to that person. Why? Because you don't have any relationship with that person. Because you think that if I give my file to this person, that person is going to, don't know, do what, right? Although he is also CA, he is also a lawyer, but you will go to the lawyer who lives near your house, or a lawyer who some of your friend has recommended, because that friend is having relation, you are having relation with them, and that's how the things work. So the relationship influence is second most important. And the common mistake is transactional approach to relation does not work like, okay, I am your friend, but we are meeting when you have to file the return. You just come to me and you give me the return papers, and then you give me the money and I give you the filed return. That's it. No, because this is very transactional. If you want to make it, if you want to make this relationship influence more and more influential, then you have to meet outside that also, then you have to talk outside that also. So there is a 6-step relationship model. What that 6-step relation model? There are 6 steps, and with this 6 steps you can reach any person in the world. Okay, any person in the world. Sir, I want to have a friendship relation with Narendra Modi. How can I reach him? You just think about all your relation. Some of your relation will have a relation at a person. This person would have a relation to that person. Maximum 6 steps. you will definitely have a relation with any person in the world. Any person in the world, that is true. This is a proven principle. Okay, so yes, the relationship influence is very important because I can reach anyone, but I will have to actually rely on the existing relationships that I'm having. All right. Okay, how to nurture that? How to nurture that? So the important thing is this trustworthiness in any relation, and it comes from three things: credibility, reliability, and intimacy. All right, what is credibility? As a chartered accountant, I know that I am talking about this thing. I know that in this section, this is the limit that is there. I know that this investment is the best because I have done a lot of analysis, right? Because this is my technical expertise. Second thing is reliability. Now, how a person can become reliable. Because I have done the technical analysis, that is why this investment is the best. And because I have recommendations in the past, those recommendations have been true. That is why I become reliable. So reliability comes from the past, credibility comes from immediate past, right? What is immediate past? My analysis. Reliability, my past behavior, right? So both of things are adding to your trustworthiness, not a single thing. So your past matters when you listen to these kind of words. So it is definitely coming from there, right? And third is the intimacy. Okay, a person is credible because he has done a lot of research, he is coming on TV. That person is credible. Reliable also because in the past he has given the recommendations and those have been true. But is there intimacy? Do you know him personally? Can you talk to him very, very friend? Those things which a friend only discuss, right? Those that intimacy actually adds to the trustworthiness. There is one person who comes on TV who has credibility, reliability more than your friend. But your friend is saying that yes, this company is a good investment, invest in this. In this case, the intimacy is adding to his score. Now you are understanding. Now you are understanding why you trust your friend more and a distant person less. It is because of this trust equation, right? And if you want to build the trustworthiness, you need to focus on this, and this thing. And the fourth one is, what is there which is dividing this? This is self-orientation. Self-orientation is whose interest do you serve? I am interested in myself. I talk about myself, myself, myself. I see things from my angle only. I present all the papers, document from my side only, my mind only, right? I think about compliances because my work gets free early. I want to get myself free at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and I want my boss to review everything by 4 p.m. So basically, it is a self-orientation. He can do. But if there is a good credibility, if it is a reliable, you must have seen some bosses, they do what? They just, when they are approving something, they just write, okay. They don't see anything. Why? Because there's a credibility, there's a reliability, there is an intimacy also. But this goes for a toss when there is a lot of self-orientation. When someone thinks that this person is selfish, then this trustworthiness, this credibility, this reliability, this intimacy also is very, very small, is lightweighted, and as compared to this self-orientation. So, of course, if very interesting thing, so this self-orientation should be less, and this numerator, credibility, reliability, and intimacy should be more. But let me tell you, what if this self-orientation is zero? If you don't have any self-orientation, if you are not at all talking about yourself, if for you yourself is not important at all, zero, 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 then what will happen to this entire thing will become zero. So yes, a little self-orientation is very, very important, my friend, right? A little. but not a lot. Yes, because it is dividing, it is reducing your impact of these three combined: credibility, reliability, and intimacy. All right, all right. Let us move ahead. What else? Then there are certain trust behaviors. These are the trust behaviors. Same thing. The low self orientation should be there. We have discussed it already. Now there is a relationship mapping. There's a relationship mapping. So you have to create a mapping of the relationship. First of all, you have to identify the key stakeholder for everything. For example, you are in your office. What are the 5 key stakeholders? For example, you send your product, you send email to the treasurer. So this treasurer becomes your key stakeholder. Second stakeholder is your boss, say for example. Third stakeholder is your team, say for example, immediate team. Fourth stakeholder is, for example, your own director, right? Fifth stakeholder is, for example, people who are working in different teams, because you have different interaction. You provide some data to those people also. Now, are you, first of all, this exercise have you done? Have you identified? Have you identified number one? Who are your key stakeholders? No, sir, I have not identified at all. I know in my mind that these 5 people are important, but trust me, there would be a 6th person also, there would be a 7th person also with whom you are missing. So you have to first of all make a list. Okay, these 6 7 people are important, and number one, this is the most important. Number two, this is then third, and then fourth. Okay, that's fine. Assess the current relationship quality. What is the current relationship quality? There is on a scale of 10, where are you standing in terms of relationship? What is the criteria? We are going to understand, but in your mind also, you will be able to assess whether I am at 8 with that person or 4 with that person. Why? Because you know that whenever you are going to say something, is that thing going to be questioned? Is that thing going to be not heard at all? Or is that thing going to be approved? Yes, without any question, without any thought, without any time. You know it already. Now determine the influence path, how you are going to influence it. We are going to talk about it. How you are going to influence it. Direct influence can be there, indirect influence can be there. And again, this direct and indirect influence again divide into 4 things. How the direct influence is going to be there? Is it going to be logically you are going to do something? Through you are going to build on the relationship. How you are going to meet that person on a coffee. For example, you are going to say hi to that person every day if you are in office, or for example, you are going to talk to that client about a new happening in direct access. Anything you think about, what is the influence path, and it is going to be different for each and every person. We are going to talk about it also here, but yes, it is going to be different. Now create deliberate relationship development plans, and you have to create the development plan. Till now, you would have documents for my returns, right? This is the 5 heads of income are this, and then these are the deductions, these are investment, and this, and thereafter this is the tax which he has paid. There's a documentation, there are a lot of files, there are a lot of papers, there are a lot of for e-files which are in different folders. But is there a file, is there a document which talks about your relationships? No. Is there a document which talks about top 10 clients of your firm? Who are those? Now, what is the current relationship? What is the influence path? What is the deliberate development plan that you are going to do? No, you have not even identified the key stakeholder. In your mind, you know, these are my big 2 clients. But is it done on paper? And I am going to discuss how we are going to do it on paper. So it is regardless, I am a CA, I am a doctor, I am engineer, I am a working professional, I am CA practice, anyone. This applies to any person, any human. That relationship we know important, but what we identifying those relation, and what we are doing? Are we documenting? Is there a structured approach? No. Possibly no. Possibly yes. All right. Then this negative attribution cycle, this might also be coming when you are thinking about now your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 clients. There is a negative attribution cycle that might be because of the fee, that might be because of the late document, that might be because of the some anomaly in some document. There's a there can be something because you don't like behavior of that person. The negative, you can have any negatives about the people who are important in your life or who are top 5 in your life, who actually influence your life, happiness, your money, everything. But you might be thinking that you are having negative relationships or negative thoughts about that person. Now there is a cycle which goes on and on and on regarding this negative attribution. First of all, you have certain negative feelings. That negative feeling can come because of anything, because of the looks, because of the first meeting, because of the behavior, because of their behavior with someone else, because of sending files late, because of anything. You think negative about a person and then you start avoiding that person. And of course, then a thing of you explain that thing to yourself. Okay, because of that he's behaving negatively, he's having that type of career character only because his motive is negative. And then you think that this personality type is this and this is not going to change. And then when there is so much negative, then you are not able to influence because you are not talking to that person. You have thought that that person is negative, so even if you are saying something wrong, you would think that that person is wrong only. Why? Because you are in that negative cycle. So what to do? You have to be positive and you have to think that a personality, if a person is having certain kind of personality, that person is because of a lot of different things. And it is said that we are not what we are, but our circumstances has made us, right? And there's a good thing actually about every person. About every person, there is something or the other good, but you are not able to recognize that good. That is something which is a problem. Okay. Well, this is a lot of gyan. Let us move on. Okay. And there's a concept which is called trust bank. I'm going to talk about that, of course. I'm going to talk about this exercise, this mapping exercise. But yes, there is one more concept. First is the relationship mapping, which I can do to make this strategy number 2 very, very effective. And then there is one trust bank. Trust bank, what is trust bank? In a bank, you deposit and then you withdraw, and there is a balance. In every relationship, you have to make deposit before you are making withdrawal. This is very, very important. Now, what are those deposit? What are those withdrawal? Is there a sheet? Is there a mapping? Is there something somewhere where you are writing, or there is something in your mind that you have? Okay, what are the deposit? When you are helping that person without expecting a return, you're just helping any person, that is a deposit in your relation. You are following through on commitment. You said something and then you are actually doing the thing. Someone said that yes, he deliver on the time. So that is very, very important. That is a deposit for you. And that's how your relationship will become very, very strong, right? And you are showing genuine interest in other priorities. What is priority for me? My priority is getting all the things in a quick manner. Whenever I give you document 2 days after that, I want my project report. Right? This is my priority. My priority is that there should be no or zero less questions from the regulator. There should be less notices. Are you genuinely interested in my priority? Boss say my priority is this, and these priorities are going to be very, very different. Let me tell you. You are subordinate. You might not be going into the management calls, right? Where all the managers are coming and then the senior manager and the director would be there, and from the manager there would be a lot of different questions that that manager is actually answering. But you think, if I don't do a thing on this deadline today, it can be done tomorrow morning, right? Before that email comes, which is a follow-up email, I can do it tomorrow morning also. But do you know what is the data dump they take? They might be taking the data dump of yesterday night. So no matter you have done in the morning, your boss is going to be asked question in the management meeting. So that is a priority for him. He don't want to answer any question, any negative question in the manager meeting, but are you showing genuine interest in that? Giving credit generously. So you are generous about helping, you are generous about not only helping, but also saying that, okay, you did it. You helped me in that. And you are expressing it openly that you are thankful to any person. Okay, this person helped me in doing this. You are giving that name, that credit to that person also. Not that I have done this. Otherwise, what will happen is tomorrow no one is going to help you. Right? Okay, what are the withdrawal? You are asking for favor. Yes, then of course it is a withdrawal. You have made a good relationship, but you are asking for favors and favors and favors and favors always. And after a while, that other person will stop picking up your calls or will say, okay, sorry, I'm busy today. Can you ask someone else? Requesting resources or time you are requesting in, then it is reducing. Challenging current approaches, you're challenging the things. Of course, it is reducing. It is reducing. Why? Because that person is accustomed to old thing, or that person has developed the current approach, and then you're challenging, that is trust withdrawal. But it does not matter that you should not do. Sometimes there is a good friend of yours and you challenge certain thing, but that friend says, okay, that is fine. Why? Because there's a lot of trust deposit that you have made. All right. This is very, very important. Yeah, need to be kept in mind. All these things, somewhere or the other, I know. But I know in a structured manner. The thing is, today each and every information is available. We know a lot of things, but number one, that information is in structured way or not. Second thing is, do we know everything, but are we acting upon that? Are we taking actions on those things or not? I know a lot of different things, but how does it really matter? I know that there are deposits, there are withdrawal, but I am doing nothing about having my deposit increased. I am just doing the withdrawals. I'm just doing the transactional relation, right? Okay, all right. Let us go to next slide. Let us do it quickly. Okay, circle of connection, that is fine. I am going to be able to make it. And there is an intro, depending on the importance, you spend time, you make deposit depending on the importance. And that importance, again, come from various perspective. Of course, we know that who is important, who is not. We know those 5-6 people. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, what is the relationship influence practice? I have told you already that you have to do this. List 5 key stakeholder. What is the relationship? Identify one specific trust building action. What you are going to do to build the trust, and schedule these actions in your calendar. Not only you are going to just do this exercise, you are going to put up in your calendar also. You are going to call your very dear friend and then you are going to wish him birthday, or you are going to ask about because that person is coming to your city, you will call him and ask him if he can spend some time with you on a lunch, on a dinner. So what you are going to do with to help the relationship influence better, so you have to mention it very, very clearly. And that is the whole outcome. The outcome is not you are listening to me and you are getting a good information, knowledge. No, you have to act upon it. Till the time you don't act upon it, it is just an information. It is one of those presentations which anyone has given. That presentation is saved in your computer also, because you asked that person, that speaker, okay, send that presentation, but you have never acted on that presentation. So the soft skills are always, the more you do, the better it will give you. It will be more and better for you. Okay. And this is the link. Again, I will give you this link also, and I will give the presentation also. So this is a link which you can have. And what is this link? This is strategic relationship mapping exercise. Here you can mention any project. So I don't get this information. There is no information which I get when you fill this. But anyways, you can create one for yourself also out of this, right? Just print it or do whatever. And what is the initiative that you are going to be, with whom you are related? For example, this is your office, or this is your CF fraternity or whatsoever. What is the influence goal you want to have 5 people, 6 people as your friends, or you want to be a speaker, or whatsoever is your goal, and what are those key stakeholders who are going to help you in that. There is stakeholder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want a promotion. Say, for example, there are 5 stakeholders. Their role is this, their influence level in that promotion is this much, medium or high. And what is my relationship strength? Very, very low. What I need to do? I need to not monitor it. I need to act right now. What action I am going to take? I am going to take these 5 actions for that. And there's a guide also, right? What they explained, and there is a tips, some tips also, and which you can say. All right. And the most important thing for building any relationship or maintaining is listen, right? So listening is very, very important. Jay sir also said, and 80-20 rule. I know that 80% listening and 20% talking, but it is really 20% talking. The answer is not really. You have to talk also, but you have to identify what are those point of time when you have to do 80% talking. So for example, there are points where you have to talk 80%. It's not always you are 20% talking, 80% listening. Not always. When you are presenting to someone, you have to talk. Here I am talking 100%, say, for example. Yes. And of course, 7 seconds. First impression take only 7 seconds. But since you want to make the relation, you want to invite someone to lunch, dinner. So what are those things which people have? Pre-adjust your attitude. Don't be having a smile is always good. A client is meeting, a boss is meeting you in the morning, good morning, right? With a smile. With you have to pre-adjust your attitude. You cannot be part of that negative cycle. So I don't talk about it much more because I want to move on to the third one. Adjust your posture, of course. You be confident, straight, right? Smile, eye contact, raise your eyebrows, shake hands, definitely lean in, right? Don't like, no, don't like that. Do like that. Yeah, okay, all right. So, not talking about it a lot. Third strategy is inspirational appeal. Now, what is the inspirational appeal? Are you able to inspire people? Right? And where it is actually applicable, where there is a change which require motivation, not just understanding. I know that AI is coming and this AI is going to, I am having the chat GPT, and so whatsoever I am going to have Copilot in our office, and people know that logically it works better, or say, for example, it can help us a lot, right? People know, and the people who are having a good relation are going to come and tell you, no, you should adopt this and you should have use this in your office work. Then third thing is important is, but people are not inspired at all. No, they are not inspired. They are not motivated to do it. So what to do? You have to motivate them. The third strategy is the motivation. And sometimes you don't have relationship. There's a logic and you inspire them. Things work. Sometimes there's no logic. You don't talk about logic at all. You just inspire people and people do the things, right? There are a lot of examples in the past which are there, right? And what is the common mistake which we think that this story, this inspiring is very, very unprofessional. Why? Because it involves showing a lot of emotions, right? So it is unprofessional. No, it is not unprofessional. What is the key success factor? Authenticate connection to a meaningful purpose. You have to have a meaningful purpose. Let us understand it better. Why logic is not enough? Neuroscience says that emotion drive action, logic justify it. When I say that driver is this and conductor is this, are you understanding now the difference? You are focusing on the conductor. He will do the things for you. Driver, you are not talking to us. But driver is the one who is going to take you to your destination. Most of the times, many of the times, talking to conductor works, but at times you have to talk to the driver also. You're not talking about the first person, to the most important person. You're talking to the second important person. Okay, all right. Emotion drive action, logic justify. Decision fatigue lead to status quo bias. Why? Because decision fatigue means I am tired. I can't take any decision. And because taking decision means taking responsibility also. Tomorrow, if anything goes wrong, I will be responsible. Tomorrow, if AI is giving me wrong answer and I have just sent that same letter to someone, and then that authority comes back and apply penalty. What is going to happen? Then someone is going to ask me, okay, who said to apply AI in this? And then possibly I'll be suspended. So that is why people maintain status quo. They say don't change it. And another reason, because it involves a lot of hard work to change. You have to learn, unlearn, you have to make new processes, and people don't want to work that much. They say, okay, let us maintain what is the status quo, how it is right now being done. Okay. And then value and identity shape decision more than fact. So what are your values? What is your identity? That shape decision, because we all know the same facts. We all know that eating healthy is good, but my values, what are those? My identity is what? That is how I take the decisions. I don't take decisions on the facts. And of course, visualization create motivation. We know that. Let us move on. Yeah. Okay. Story bypass relation resistance. We know that, okay, the story building is very, very important, and I know each and every out of thing. It is more memorable, but how to do that? My focus is going to be on that. First of all, there is a method which is story spine method. Okay. Story spine means what? There is a structure that humans are having. That is how we are standing, we are walking, and we are doing all of these things. Likewise, story also has a spine, has a structure. And it goes on like once upon a time, you are given the context. Okay. Then and every day this happens, you're talking about, okay, if status quo, you don't change every day, this is going to happen. Every day you will go late home. Now what is going to happen? Until one day means, okay, and one day you did this, you applied AI, you learned AI, whatsoever, right? And because of that, what happened? You went home early, and further you got applause from your bosses and subordinates and regulator, and until finally grown the business. Or you want to say something which is not right, something, but yes, here there was some problem in the usage. So are you understanding? There's a structure of the story. Whenever you are saying something, you should start with something, you should end with something, and that something is understanding what that something is going to be very, very important. What I have written on the screen is 15 minutes. There's a meeting of 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour. But am I spending 15 minutes before the meeting to decide what I'm going to say? Most of the time, I think in corporate it happen, I'll stay quiet in the meeting and I come back. Because I don't have to speak anything, I will just listen. But am I doing 15 minutes? Leave it. I'm not even thinking about 5 minutes or 2 minutes. No, I'm not spending that time. I'm not organizing my thoughts that what I have to speak there. Right? And of course, because of that, I'm not attentive there also. And so this is that negative cycle. So story spine method is to be applied, but for that you have to spend some time also before you have to actually speak, actually present, actually go in a meeting. All right. Then what are the story types for influence? So what are the story types which we are having, which is going to actually influence? First thing is why I am here story, right? Why I am here. Establish authenticity. So for example, why I am a speaker on this subject, because yes, I have done this MBA, I have done this mass communication, I have done this CA, of course, and I have done this, for example, management development, I am Raipur. Establish the authority. Why you think that in that meeting, you are the person who is going to resolve their queries, resolve their problems? Why do you think that you are going to, or you want to present this time, that pack, that memo, that presentation with the investor? Why should someone give you a chance? Or why should people actually agree to what you are saying? Because I have done this thing in my previous organization. That's why I am having that experience. I have established authenticity. So you have to first establish authenticity, then you have to give a vision, right? If we do this, then this will happen. And this is a structure, simple structure. Challenge. If these are the challenges which are going to come, always when you mention about challenges, people think that yes, you have done those things, you have done your analysis very thoroughly. You are not only talking about the successes. In my past company, this was something which happened and this is a success story. Right? You talk about failure stories also, you talk about challenge also, you talk about successes also, but you have to mention it in a manner by which you can influence. But it always starts with establishing your authenticity. So you know the structure now, how you can inspire. These are the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this way you can inspire, right? All right, I know about this now. Now you have to make an inspirational appeal practice. Who is that person whom you want to affect, right? What's the current situation? What are the changes that you want to make? Because you are having certain insight. What is the better future which is becoming possible? What specific action should the audience take? So all of these things. And so this is a link. Again, I have created one thing for you. This is a canvas. So for example, what is going to be the story? What is going to the target audience goal? What is the key data insight? And what are those things? Every day this happens, that happen. And what are the story enhancement note? This is the emotional hook. So this is another side of thing where storytelling and everything, these are the details of that. But yes, we are restricting ourselves to this much only. You can go and go on this link and you can see. All right. Now the fourth thing is strategy 4, collaborative approach. I know that I have the logic I have given also. Second thing, I have good relationship. I have utilized that also. Okay, third thing, I am having inspirational speeches also. I have told all the stories. Okay, this will happen, that will happen. But still people are not agreeing. Still people are not inspired, influenced by whatever I am saying. Okay, all right, then what should I do? The fourth thing is collaborative approach. So you need not do 1, 2, 3 and then 4. You can straightforward go to 4. You can straightforward from 1 to go to 4. You can start with 4 and you can later on give logic. But ideally you should give logic first and then only you will be able to have the people collaboration. You cannot give the logic, then you use your relationship and then put people into collaboration. You don't have relationships, but you inspire people and then you say, let's collaborate. Right? Now you know all the strategies can go together also, strategies separately can go also, and strategies can go this way or that. So you know the combinations now, right? Of course, now what it is, collaborating approach, co-creating the solutions. If people are not agreeing, you co-create. Why this is important? When you are implementing something complex, when you have to change something very important, then you have to involve the important people and you have to co-create the solutions, right? Why you have to co-create? Because you have to include certain other departmental heads also. You need to include certain other department employees also, although those employees are not going to do anything. They are just going to attend the call, they are going to listen, and they are going to go home. That's it. But there is a comfort, there is a approach that yes, we are doing it together. Otherwise what they will do is they will oppose that, right? When it works, when it is a complex challenge, you need buy-in. In that case, you will apply the collaborative approach. What is a common mistake? Confuse presenting with collaborating. No, I am talking to you, I am presenting to you, and this is what we are going to do. That's it. And I go home. I think that I have collaborated because I have told everyone that I am going to do this. No, this is not collaboration. Collaboration is when you do it together, right? So what is the key success factor here? Genuine openness to other input. This collaboration, in this collaboration, it's not like we are doing it together, but whatever I am saying, we will do together. No, it's not like that. You have to be genuinely open to others' inputs. If others are saying something, you should be open at least to listen. Whether to act or not, you will decide commonly, right? Or you are deciding, that is fine, but at least I am listening to that. I am thinking about pros and cons, and believe me, this factor actually helps the things to do things doing in a better way, right? Of course, I know that. Now let us move on. What else? How I can actually do it? Why it works? Because there is a psychology of ownership. Because I have done it. There is an IKEA effect, that we value what we have built. So this is why it works, right? So wherever anything you want to implement, you just involve someone who are opposing or whom you think can oppose, right? So this is our strategy for collaborative approach. And what are the tools? First tool is this involvement spectrum. So are you going to inform? No. I am going to first of all inform. I am going to consult with them. I am going to gather the input. I am going to involve, also work together. I am going to collaborate, joint decision making. I am going to empower, delegate the decision authority as well. And how it is going to happen? It is going to happen like this. You will not do this thing first. No, not at all. You will go like this. First of all, you have to inform, okay, this is happening. And first, then consult, okay, what are your inputs? Then after the inputs, let us work together and then decide jointly. And then you can also decide, right? So this is how you can do. And when to use this approach, it depends. You might not be doing all of them. At some places you just need to inform. At some places you need to consult. At some places you need to delegate the authority as well. So there are certain times, certain things, certain projects where you can just inform, you can just consult. So these are the different degrees of involvement, and you have to either go from top to bottom one by one, or you have to just pick and apply something of that sort. So for example, if I am applying this empower, so I have to try that. I have to go by this way. If I have to consult, just these two. If I have to involve, just these three. But this hierarchy should be followed. All right. What else? What else? Design thinking. Design thinking for influence. So what is design thinking? We are going to understand in a greater detail. Let me just put it this way. Okay. So design thinking is, first of all, I have to empathize. First of all, you have to understand what are the needs and concerns. You have to think about each and every stakeholder. First of all, make a list of stakeholders, right? Okay, define. Then you have to see, okay, what are the problem? What are the problem? You have to clearly understand, define, okay, this is the problem, and this is the, then ideate, this is the solution, and then this is the prototype. Of course, you don't create the answer, the solution at the outset. First of all, you create the solution, you test it in low risk experiment, right? You test that file is going to work or not. If I book my trades, if I go to the market and buy this and sell this, will it work or not? You have to just do a low risk experiment, small purchases, maybe small purchase of that stock, maybe. And then of course you have to test, gather feedback, refine, and then implement. So this is how the design thinking is going to work for influence. Yes, of course, I know that. And of course, diverge before converging, right? Of course, you have to generate the things before you are evaluating, and make it visual, structure participation, build on ideas. Yes, instead of yes, but. So you don't have to disagree. You just have to think about different things, and you have to agree on a common thing. And of course, it is not that much easy the way I am saying, but by using these things in a structured manner, right? These things in a structured manner, these things in a structured 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manner, we are definitely going to be able to do it. All right. What else? What else? This is collaborative approach practice, which we are going to do. First of all, who need to be influenced? Why? What specific question will you ask them for influencing, for the collaboration? How will you incorporate their input? How will you acknowledge their contribution? You will raise a thank you note. You will go to the podium and thank them publicly. What you are going to do? How will you maintain collaboration throughout the implementation? So the sometime implementation will also go on together with the collaboration. How are you going to do? So yes, you have to think about a current challenge that you are having. You have to think all those things and then you start the collaboration. This is an exercise which you have to do before the collaboration. Don't just jump. Always go with a plan. A person who fails to plan actually plans to fail. You must have heard. So this is the plan before you implement. Because here you are involving a lot of people, or at least you are involving a person, one person in your own things, right? So that is very, very important. Okay, now, of course, we have talked a lot of tools already about influencing in each of these four, but there are certain more tools to influence also. Let us talk about them. Okay, what are those tools? These tools are, first of all, you have to select your influence strategy. What is that strategy? Logical persuasion, or for relationship, or inspirational, or collaborative. Logical, when fact and data can persuade. Facts are such, the data is such. For example, we talked about that Pakistan hit these places, these many people are killed. So the fact and data, the fact itself is very, very much convincing that we should attack, we should retaliate. Right? So that fact in itself is a persuasion. We don't need to inspire people. We don't need to uh, pick our people who are with whom we are having good relationship. We don't have to collaborate to do anything. We just have to present the fact. That's it. We just have to tell the fact. That's it. Somewhere we have to tell the data, but somewhere you'll have to use your trust, your credibility for getting something done, right? You have to inspire people, motivate people. Where the motivation and meaning will matter, you will apply this inspirational appeal. Where the buy-in and ownership are essential, you are doing something for some department, so you'll have to collaborate. You can't really inspire them only, right? You want to apply co-pilot in their organization, in their department, so you have to involve them. Okay, so 5 people just come ahead and let us do the exercises together, and then it will be implemented for the whole team if it works fine in your team. So that is an inspirational appeal, right? Oh, sorry, that is a collaborative approach. Sorry. Yeah, so you have to select your influence strategy and then influence strategy metrics. So what is X is saying how much time you have, Y axis is saying what is the relationship strength. On the basis of that, you have to decide which approach to apply, right? So if you are having a lot of time, right, and you are having a less relationship, so you have to collaborate. If you are having a lot of time and you are having a good relationship, then what you have to do, so there are 4 things that you have to do. So if you are having good relationship and then you are having, say for example, good time available, then you should have what? You should have that relationship technique. Okay, if you are having good relationship and you don't have any time, then what you will do? Then you will apply that relationship again. And if you are low on time, if you are low on relation, you will apply the logic, right? So you have to apply which strategy works best, and accordingly you have to apply the influence relevance matrix. You have to decide based upon your time available and the relationship strength. Okay, this is one. Then there are digital influence tools also. There are digital influence tools because we are talking digitally right now. There is a virtual whiteboard. There is a virtual whiteboard. Can you see this client strategy? And there are a lot of people which are working on that. There is Google Docs. People work collaboratively. So these tools also we should implement for what? For having our influence. How? Because you are creating that Google Doc, then of course you are having the influence in a way that yes, all the people are coming there and putting their inputs, and somewhere you are leading the initiative. So for leading the initiative, for having the influence, you should also be able to use different tools, digital tools, because today, right now, your client might not be coming to you. Your client might want something to see on his mobile phone. Your client is maybe in Europe. Your colleagues are not are working from home. So all of these digital influence tools are very, very important. Visual communication tools are there where you can present your things. Decision support systems are there. This Slido, for example, you one scanner which I showed you, through which you could able to talk to me. I could see that what you are typing, what you are mentioning. You also enjoyed the process, right? So of course, these digital tools are very, very important, right? Otherwise, we might not be able to talk. And of course, this relationship management, this CRM, this scheduling tools, all of these tools you should be able to have. So this is a dashboard which I have created. And of course, this is a sample dashboard which is created, which you can refer. And what is this? The preparation canvas. What is the preparation canvas and relationship dashboard template? So you think about your relation and you talk, you have all the things mentioned. Okay, what is the client? What is the revenue? What revenue you get? What are the key contact? What are the relationship health indications? So for the top 5-6 client, you should definitely do this exercise. I will show you the 100%, the full what all things are included here. And then of course there's this audience. Okay, the preparation canvas. First of all, what outcome I want, who is the audience, what is the context, what are the motivations of audience, right? So for my audience, what matters is, because my audience has seen the topic and come, so their motivation is that they want to learn something new, they want to have some actionable, implementable day one from their in their life. They want certain tools, because I have included in the flyer that there are certain tools which we are going to discuss. So that is important for them. If I don't include it, what are the obstacle? There might be obstacle that I'm not able to talk to them. So what might prevent success, you should also mention in your preparation canvas. What is the strategy selection? Okay, which strategy I'm approaching using and why it is fitting the best? What are the key messages which I'm going to have? What is the follow-up plan to maintain the momentum, right? So this is something that we are having. Let me share with you, okay, what, 1 second. 1 second, let me share with you what is there. Okay, all right. This is a client management template. So relationship dashboard template, right? This is about the company, what is the key contact, and what is the satisfaction response, timeliness, quality of deliverable. All of these things you should mention. Client goals and priority. What is the status? What is the trend? Or any notes? What are the client goals and priorities? Okay, 12 month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. What do you want? You want to discard any? Oh, sorry, you want to discontinue any client, right? So you should mention that you want to increase the scope. For example, you are doing internal audit, tomorrow you want to do taxation also, something like that. Relationships, service relationship section. What is the service? What is the fee? What is the responsible team member? So for my top 10 clients, I should definitely do this. What are the service opportunities? Okay, apart from this, there are these opportunities. I can do the CMA data thing also. What is the risk assessment, fee sensitivity, competitor key activity, relationship vulnerability? Okay, we are about to. The vulnerability is very high, because this client actually goes to a lot of different chartered accountants, or say, for example, talk to different CAs. Yeah, you know it, right? You know that vulnerability is high, then you will start finding another client or something. You at least know that there is something like this happening, and then of course you need to make that strategy. What are the touch points when you are going to touch that person? What are the recent interaction and value? What is the value addition content sharing? Are you doing anything? And this is the implementation guide. All right, this is what I have. Then what is the influence preparation canvas? Okay, so my audience analysis. First of all, what specific result I want, my audience analysis, what is the situation, background, stakeholder motivations, okay, potential obstacle, what is the strategy selection, what is going to be my primary, supporting, why it is not applicable, all of these things, what are the key messages that you are going to put, what are the follow-up plans, so of course, and application example. So all of these things you can actually apply in your things. So this is what I have compiled for you. All right. Sorry. Let us just go back. All right. And of course, this is a measure influence effectiveness. That's how you are going to do. There are leading indicators and there are lagging indicators. Lagging means you will find on later on that, okay, this has happened. Resources already allocated, action already taken, result already achieved. But there is something from which you can actually get some insight. For example, there's a lot of engagement. People are asking a lot of questions. That means what you're saying, your presentation is what people are connecting to, right? What people are not answering at all. That means people are not at all connecting. Voluntary participation, there is a participation, there is question asked, there is referral, whatsoever. These are some of the indicators. That's good thing, right? Okay, there are some difficult situation also that we have to navigate. Okay, and what about this? So you understand, you have to first of all understand resistance. Why is the difficult situation? Because there are some people who are not allowing you to do certain things. Why? Because there is a lot of resistance. They don't want you to do that. But why there is a resistance, you have to understand why and how you are going to understand and what to keep in mind, because this resistance is like a tip of iceberg. You are able to see this, but below the water there is a lot of iceberg also. So you have to figure out what is this, what are the motivations, why that person is resisting, right? So you have to understand that as well. All right. Okay. First is cognitive. There is a cognitive resistance from any person, right? If there is a cognitive resistance from any person, then you have to do what? Is it disagreeing with the facts or logic? Then you have to use what? Logical persuasion. So in each and every case, first of all, you have to understand what is the resistance, why the resistance is, and then you have to apply those 4 things which I talked about. All right, sir. But what about others? The emotional, if there is an emotional fear, threat, or a loss is there, then you have to talk about, you have to use what? You have to soothe them. You have to apply that relationship persuasion. You have to apply those relationship persuasion. If there is a political reason, then what you are going to do? Then you are going to have that relationship persuasion. Sorry, in emotional, you have to apply that inspirational persuasion, right? History, past experiences, then again shape reactions. Then you have to apply that inspirational and relationship together, right? And then if there is some organizational barrier, it is systematic, people are not accepting what you are saying, then possibly there is some collaborative persuasion which is required. So basis your resistance, you are going to apply your tools that we have talked, one of those 4 tools. Yes. All right. What else? Yeah, this is actually mentioned here also. Cognitive, then logic plus evidence, emotional, then you have to apply empathy and you have to empathize and you have to reassure, right? Then you have to apply that inspirational resistance, inspirational persuasion. If there is a political resistance, then you have to think about what are their interests, what are the coalitions, what are the persons with whom I can bring, and those people are going to help me navigate this. Historical resistance. In the past, there is something which has happened, so you have to acknowledge the past. Okay, in the past, we have been not talking, we have been fighting with each other, and okay, that now it is the time to actually acknowledge and to actually go ahead on things and accept that yes, there is a difference, there was a difference, and from now we will not do anything like that, or this is an important project, we should together work on this for the benefit. Then systematic resistance, you have to navigate the system, you have to adapt the system so that there is no resistance. All right, I understand that. Then there is influence under pressure. It is very, very important. Why? Because there at times there are a lot of pressure which you are having and you want to apply your influence. What pressure is there? Either you are under pressure or those people whom you are talking are under pressure. So first of all, first for that you have to prepare thoroughly, and there may be high stakes situation, there may be tough situation also, right? In my office, for example, I want to organize an event. So there might be a lot of pressure. Okay, how the things will happen, and who will take the permissions from the, for example, your office is in DLF, who will take permission from DLF, things like that, and who will gather funds, who will get it approved from MD, something like that. So yes, there might be some pressures, but you have to prepare thoroughly. You have to stay centered. What is my purpose? Don't have to get into different people, try to pull into different things. You don't have to. You just have to focus on your purpose. Ask question instead of defend. You just ask question. Okay, DLF will not approve. Why? I think they should approve. Okay, will they not approve? Do you know in the past if we have given any uh, approval request which they have not approved? So you should ask question. Okay, what do you think? How we can resolve it, right? And you have to acknowledge emotions, yours and there. If there is some emotional argument, there is some heat which has been exchanged. You should acknowledge that. Okay, I was also not right in saying that or showing that emotion, and of course there was some emotion which was shown by you also. So of course I will acknowledge that as well, and create space for reflection when tension arises. Okay, you don't need to actually apply, don't go with all the four tools with all the guns ready, right? You can give a little space also. You can just say, okay, that's fine, let's probably talk on this after 1 day or 2 day or 5 day after the analysis done or whatsoever. So you give that space also when there's a lot of tension, right? All right, so this is what it is. And the skeptical executive, right? So you always think about there's a person, right, who is there in the office. In every office is there, so all people will agree, but there's one person who will say, okay, what if the electricity will go, for example, in our event? What if no one will agree? What if no one will come? There is that skeptical executive. We make all the arrangement, but no one is going to come. What will happen then? All the arrangements are going to go waste. All our food will go waste. There is a skeptical executive who is always asking who is always in doubt. Okay, what will happen? So of course, when you are preparing for anything like that, a big issue, a stress situation, you have to seek help of that skeptical person. And that skeptical person should be a senior leader. Why? Because he might be asking the question who are from the leader, with the questions which are from the leadership and not really a subordinate level question, right? So that is why you always present your major initiative to a skeptical leader. Then he will ask all the question, you will be ready with all the answers. And of course, the ineffective approach is you double down on the data. Number one, you present a lot of data. Number two, you change the data. No, don't do anything of that. The effective approach is, first of all, understand what is the concern and connect to their priority. They might not be interested in all of these things that you are suggesting, but there might be one simple thing which you can do and which will resolve. And except that when you discuss things, and if the people are having the right intention, then the things will be better after the discussion. Yes, definitely. Competing priorities. Okay, people will having different priorities. So your initiative compete with them. For example, one person try to implement this system, you are suggesting that system. That person is also having a cost, your system. That person is interested in less cost. And why that person want to implement that system? Because he in the previous organization he has already worked on that. He has an edge on that system. There can be competing priorities. You don't argue that your initiative is better, or you just find the synergy, you just state the implementation. So basically you have to find, okay, these two things are there, one is bad, another is good, but on the basis of what? On the basis of that, or you think that really that other approach is going to be right. So what you have to do for that, you have to map the stakeholder. First of all, okay, these are going to be the stakeholder for both the systems, and you have to talk to them, you have to correlate with them, and you go by stage approach. Okay, can we have a demo from both the systems, right? Together, can we have a demo, right? So that they cross argue, they have questions for each others. So basically, these are the different approaches. Okay, there are some other political minefield also. So if a person is politically motivated, what you should do, you should ignore politics and you should be very, very transparent. What are the things that you want to achieve and what are the people needs, right? Whenever there is a lot of politics, you just make a group and then you talk openly about things, right? So a person who is doing politics from behind, that person will not do politics in front of everyone, right? Because that is what is politics. Okay, conclusion and action planning. Let me quickly go through it. It is influence and it is not manipulation. If you are aware of what you are doing to gain influence, if you fit your argument and language to other party interests, if you not mention your ultimate goal, if not asked, if you exaggerate your cost because the trade seem good, if you paint the most favorable picture of benefit, right? Well, there are about lot of pictures. You want to paint that picture which is the most attractive. If you lie about your intention, then it is manipulation. From here, the manipulation start. Till here, it is only influence. So we have to always be in this top category, not go to the bottom one, right? You can take a screenshot and later on see. All right, when you have to develop a influence plan, development plan, 30-day plan, first of all, start with one high influence opportunity, party, whatsoever, primary, secondary influence strategy, what is going to be, 2-3 specific tool that you are going to implement, and you have to schedule and you have to set specific success matrices. Why? Because if that person is going to message me back or this person is going to, how you will measure that your plan is actually working. So you have to understand, okay, because I am having this plan, I am going to apply this. I want this kind of change. This is my goal. And if that person does that, if I am having that much in my relationship, if that person comes to that party, if that person goes with me on a trip, whatsoever, right? So that influence development plan is going to be there. And of course, this is the turn, how you are going to turn this learning into impact, because this learning is of no use if it cannot be impactful for you. And first thing is small actions, but consistently. Compound effect is important. One conversation this week. Of course, think about this conversation next week. See any YouTube video. Try consistently applying. And of course, 3 into 3 into 3 challenge. 3 things, 3 people, and 3 approaches you have to apply. All right. I'm not going into a lot of detail, but yes, of course, there are a lot of key takeaways, but before that, I want to talk about this is inquiry map. There are a lot of tools which I have included. Now, influencing your boss. This is one of the important things. I want to talk about it. And for that, you have to think that your boss is a partner. Of course, he has a goal. You just understand what are your goals and priority, what is the boss's word. And once you understand, you will see that if you work as per the boss or as per his requirements, then your life also becomes very easy. You will be getting more and more accolades. Ultimately, you are working for 9-10 hours, and if you're not working as per the requirement, and it's not always like your boss is always wrong. It is like he is having different parameters, or he is having different motivations, or in the meetings, in the management meetings, he is getting different questions asked, right? So basically, of course, you have to make a good carve out of this and understand what are the resources you have. You are good at the in-depth working, but your boss is good at the top level. So you have, and this is what you can acquire, this is what you have. Pay attention to way in which boss want to be rated. He want a concise report. You have to provide according to that. So of course, a good focus is going to help. And of course, this is the way in which it is going to work. Assume all are potential alike, clarify goal, diagnose the word of the person, identify what are your positives, what is his positive, dealing with the relationship, influence through give and take. Of course, you will have to also do something for him or her. He also will do in return, because you remember the trust bank, right? That's how it becomes. It works. Okay, now there are a lot of problem influencing my boss. My boss resist my ideas, and of course, how can I want get from in terms of improved job? He does not want partnership. You are asking me to become a partner. My boss is often wrong, but seldom in doubt. So I don't want that big mistakes happen. How can I develop my boss? There are a lot of questions, and let me tell you, the answers are here only, right? In understanding more, I would have talked about it more, but yeah, we are going to end this. Okay, this is a good book, Influence Without Authority. You should read it, from Cohen. Mad to Stick. This is also a good book, right? And okay, and what works here might not work, does not mean work here. So every person is important, every word is important. Just think about it and do it like that. These are the 8 top skills of top performer, and persuasion is one of them, right? And of course, there are others also. And of course, emotional intelligence, which we talked about today. And any questions if you are having, and this is my phone number and my email ID. If you want to connect, you can connect. You can message me, WhatsApp me. You don't, please don't call me. Otherwise, I'm mostly in some of the other sessions. Might be difficult for me, but yes, I'll try to answer your questions. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now I will hand over to.
Now, 2 questions are from audience. You just go through in chat box.
1 second, sir. Let me stop my screen share. All right. Please elaborate when an individual personally feel that when a person speaks from heart, he is successful because he is unbiased and more convincing, right? So yes, that is absolutely right. Why? Because first of all, okay, there are questions. Why? Because first of all, you understand, you believe that this thing is true, right? A person who is, for example, who know that I am speaking lie, he might be hesitating, he might not be saying in the loud words, right? I know that this is the truth. I will be more convinced, and I will say it with a lot of push. Say, for example, a lot of enthusiasm. I will have a lot of different stories that yes, why this will work, because I know it has worked in the past, right? I will say it with more conviction. So that is very, very true. That is very, very true. When I feel that something is right, something is true, the influence definitely increases. And when these things, the truth is combined with these 5-4 attributes that we talked about, when we use tools along with that, that is going to always help and increase the influence. And of course, second thing is inner soul always inspired to learn. Yes, of course, and bring the changes within and outside. So yes, that is very, very true. But yes, that is the question, how inner soul is inspiring to learn, adaptable, and bring the changes within and outside the organization. So of course, there is one thing that is, and while we are talking about the inner soul, I want to talk about the mindset. Why mindset? There is an open mindset and there is a closed mindset. What is open mindset? That yes, I am always going to be open to new things. Why? Because I have seen in the past, everyone has seen in the past that yes, I can resist. No, it is, I don't want to change, but change will happen ultimately. We have seen in the past that yes, income tax has become faceless. Things are changing. Things will definitely change. The person who is more adaptable will become more and more influential, will win the game, will be ahead in the game. So definitely it is the first thing to have my mindset to be open. My soul is going to help me. My thought, my mindset is going to help me be in being adaptable, in changing, in applying all of these things, right? If I am excited about myself, my success, then only I am going to apply all of these things. Otherwise, this is just a session. How to handle politics? in the organization when the senior or subordinate don't want you to be better or feel that person will outperform and they don't want to give importance? Very, very, very relevant question, very important question. Why? Because there's a lot of politics. And why that politics? Because that boss, that subordinate or that senior is also having a job, he is also having an aura, he is also having his own interest. And what happens is when some subordinate is having the right question asked, he is doing the right things, that person is having the more caliber, that is very much natural that I will be a little bit skeptical. I will say, okay, that person will outshine if I don't stop him. That is very much obvious. So that is why I said 4 things: collaborative approach, relationship approach. I don't actually uh, I don't have any problem if a person who I know who is in good relation, if that person does some progress, or if I think, if I give some credit to that senior, that yes, I have done this thing with that senior, collaborative approach, I have involved that person also, right? If there is still politics, so you don't have to challenge, you don't have to work like that you are going to challenge his position. But first of all, you have to, there are various approaches actually to do this. One approach is, of course, you understand everything, stay grounded, and then, of course, once you are ready, get up. Second approach is, of course, be collaborative. You do the work with their help, involve them also. You have good relations with them, right? Talk to them. And then when you are having good relation, there will be less resistance for you, less politics when it comes to you. So yeah, there are certain things that you can do. Any other things that are coming in your mind, and then you think that you want to have an answer for that? Otherwise, I'll hand over to our moderator, our committee back. People are not ready for collaboration. Okay, so yes, one thing which I mentioned is you have to understand what is that motivation, right? Why they are having politics? 5 6 things. Are they fearful, right? Are they having something against you personally? So there are a lot of things, and we have not touched upon that topic here. There are these things can come because of the personality type also. So there are 4 kind of personality. There is one analytical personality who talks about the numbers and words and everything, right? There is one personality who is very much talkative, who don't want to talk about words. There is one personality who is driver personality, who wants to drive things, who want to do the work, right? And there's fourth personality also. So are you and that person is not fitting because of that personality type mismatch, because the driver type of person will work perfectly with the analytical person. So analytical will be subordinate, driver will be the boss. But the driver will not be able to work with that expressive person. So that might be one personality type mismatch also. So I covered in one of the previous session about these personality types and how to handle them. So this can also be one of the things. And that's what Jay sir also mentioned in the beginning, that every person is different. So a lot of different tools are there, but yes, we have to understand which tool to apply. There's no one tool which is going to apply for each and every problem. Yeah. Yes. Any other thoughts?
So I think we are done with the questions. Thank you so much, Harpreet ji. Hello. Yeah, thank you so much, Harpreet ji, for this wonderful session and expressing it so well articulated, very well expressed. You have covered various points and shared so many tools and techniques with our audience. So definitely it's going to benefit everyone in their day-to-day dealing and communicating with their clients or handling the peer pressure at organizations and various levels. It's something which everyone deals irrespective of their position, place, or the work profile they are handling. So thank you so much for putting all the efforts, carving out all the slides so beautifully, logically placed, sequentially. And it has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast on Go Beyond Analytics, Learn to Inspire, Guide, and Drive Change. This is being organized by the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICAI. So on behalf of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICAI, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, C. Harpreet Singh Ji, for his enlightening session. A wide round of applause and thanks to the organizers, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, our today's speaker, and our stakeholders who made this webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank all of you present here helping us to make this webcast a grand success. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned for more such sessions being organized, coming up with more such sessions from this Professional Enrichment Committee. So keep tracking, keep reading the website, going through the websites for such knowledgeable sessions. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.